Representative Melissa Hortman was a member of the state legislature for 2 decades and became the 61st Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives in 2019. Here to discuss her work and legacy is Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Lieutenant Governor, we just thank you so much for your time. So sorry for your loss. Representative Hortman has been described as a confidant, a mentor, and companion, as a hard-working, problem-solving leader who managed to negotiate her way through impasses. Just curious how you'd describe her.
I mean, I would certainly use all of those words to describe Melissa Hortman. But what I would also say is that she was an incredibly good friend. She was just an incredible public servant and cared tremendously about getting good results for Minnesotans. You know, she oftentimes said she didn't have a lot of time for political stuff. She didn't use the word stuff, but showed that you really cared about doing the work and had a tremendous influence on so many people all throughout the state. And I am grateful that more people across the country out of this tragedy are getting to know Speaker Hortman, and she will leave a tremendous legacy for folks who didn't even know her in the legislative accomplishments that we were able to secure together. Paid family and medical leave, child care investments, feeding kids across the state of Minnesota, all of those pieces, will leave a lasting impact on the lives of Minnesotans. And she was just incredible.
As you just mentioned, Representative Hortman presided over several marquee legislative wins for Democrats in 2023 when the party had a 1-seat majority. What issues would you say she was most passionate about?
Well, she cared tremendously about sustainability, about clean energy, and she was really a policy nerd, and that is one of my favorite things about her. And I also know she really cared a lot about her family and her kids and Mark, her dog Gilbert, and was a gardener. One of my favorite things to do was to catch up with her over, chips and margaritas. And we would talk about what it meant to be raising girls in this moment. And she was really something.
You mentioned her family. We know that Representative Hortman and her husband leave behind 2 children. Any word on how they're doing?
I mean, as you can imagine, losing both of their parents in this tragedy, first Father's Day, immediately following the loss of both of their parents. We are all just going to do whatever we can to support them through this incredibly difficult moment. And I would say, to remember just the human part of this, right? Elected officials are people with people in their lives who love them. And so as we are seeing this, of course, through the lens of just a terrible, political violence, they also just have lost the people who are most important to them in their lives. And so keeping that human lens on this and just the core of people's humanity in this moment, I think is also really important.
Violent threats against lawmakers, as you know, hit a record high last year for the 2nd year in a row. What can be done to stop this and protect those who serve us?
Well, it's pretty clear that we all, every elected official of every stripe and party has to turn down the temperature. I was so grateful that the congressional delegation from Minnesota, Democrats and Republicans, released a joint statement. That should be how we are approaching this in this moment.
And just to end on that note with regard to humanizing, you talked about how you all would meet for chips and margaritas. Curious if you just have any anecdotes, any small little story or favorite memory of her that you might be able to share with us.
Well, I would say this, as a member of the Minnesota House, and being under her leadership. There's a moment about a decade or so ago that went very viral when many of the people who are part of the People of Color and Indigenous Caucus, women, were speaking on the floor, and there was sort of an infamous card game that was happening in the members' retirement room, and Minority Leader Hortman at the time, got up and called it out. She said, there are these women who are giving these really important speeches on the floor, and there's a card game being played in the back. The next day, some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle were pretty upset about it, and they asked her to apologize. And she said that she would not, and very matter-of-factly, and she absolutely had our back. And so I watched her that day just show me what it meant to be in leadership, to have the backs of your members, to just tell the truth and to stand in it. And she had our back, and we in turn then had her back in that moment. And I will always be grateful for that. And as a new member who came in the middle of a biennium, she took me under her wing and became a mentor and a friend. And there are countless people who have similar stories to mine. And I will just miss her tremendously.
Well, we thank you so much for sharing your time and a bit about your friend, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.